Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for March 5th, 2019, with your host, Spacebreaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
We are doing a good thing for I don't know how long this will take us.
Well, doing 4 episodes at a time. There was, 48? Question mark?
49.
That was close. So, that'll leave us 19 after this?
Yep.
So, 5 more weeks?
Approximately. We'll probably have to do an extra episode at some point.
No. One of them will just be 3 instead of 4.
Very true. We could probably just roll the last 3 together, since the last episode is not a two-parter. Or not a part of a two-parter.
By the way, we would have to. Otherwise,
is that where it is?
Splitting a 2-parter.
Okay, good. That works. Good. We can cover the last 2 episodes in the essentially the epilogue episode. Because 49 is essentially an epilogue episode.
I was sitting there thinking, he's not thinking that one all the way through.
I am in fact not. That happens a lot. But yeah, we're picking up where we left off on Double, so there's probably a couple things to say up front. First and foremost, if you're coming into this wondering, where's the reviews of the first 25 episodes of Double? It's because they're on the YouTube.
26.
26, my bad. 26 episodes of Double. They're technically on the YouTube, and they're technically in riff track form, because they were done in the riff tracks, and that was the last season we did before we rebooted everything. So instead of going back through 26 episodes of Double, we're just going to pick up where we left off and go forward.
And for those wondering, yes, it is all in a playlist. I do believe that we did have some old picks, as we called them, which was basically where we just picked a show that wasn't the one we were going through.
Yep.
So you might have to skip a couple.
It should be denoted in the description if it's one of those episodes or not.
Maybe. Because I thought I could just go through the descriptions and find out what episodes we were on, but apparently that didn't happen for all of them, so I thought it did, so that might have been my fault. But I do know the last episode in the playlist, which was the last one we did for season 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was 25 and 26. So we definitively are picking up from there.
Yep. Let me actually pull up the old thread, because it should be updated. Or not. There is no picks there. I don't know, is there more episodes than there would be?
I think there was. Let me pull it back up. But I'm almost positive there was more than there should have been there. I do know we were pondering at the time of adding X8 into one of them. But it hadn't had enough episodes out for us to definitively go, yes, let's do it.
Probably.
No, it didn't. Like, it was still in single digits. a comment was made at the beginning before we actually transitioned to which episodes was going on. Just saying.
Wow, so, that shows how long it's been.
Yeah. I gotta find it again.
By title cards, I think I got you to watch the first 2 episodes of X and Y.
That's right. That's why I did it that way. Yeah. I think the only other one that didn't wind up getting a custom card based off of what it looks like is episode 14 also. For that season.
That might be Zyuohger.
I believe it was.
Do.
But I think everything else was. Yeah, because case in point, we had 15 episodes. That would have put us at 30.
Yep.
So
you can skip.
Yeah. That would be the 2 old picks then.
Yep, so you can skip episode 9 and episode 14 in the playlist, and if you don't want to hear, like, me pull Tommy into watching the first 2 episodes of X and Y, I want to say it's subbed, because I got really hooked on X and Y, and then, like, continuation XYZ for Pokemon.
I think you're right. I think it was subbed.
Yeah. I want to say it would be sub because I only ever watched the sub of XY. So I don't know why I would have you watch the dub. If I didn't even watch the dub.
And yeah, I'm just going to put this out there. That was kind of my slip there. I should have put which episodes we were doing in each one.
Mm-hmm.
I realized what I did, though. Yeah, I realized exactly what I did there. I put the link to where we were watching them in there, and didn't even put the episodes in that part of it.
Yep. Is that,
and yes, it was the sub for X and Y.
Yeah. I'm curious of when we did 14, 2016. God, when did Zyuohger debut? Wow, we were a bit of a ways into Zyuohger at the time, because Zyuohger debuted in February of that year, and we did that in November.
Yeah. And so, like I said, when 15 was out, X8 hadn't even made it to 10.
Damn. Jeez.
But I seem to recall why some of that happened too. We had some unexplained breaks with X8. Because there was a couple of weeks there that, for different reasons, we just didn't have an episode.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Because otherwise, by December, usually we're in the double digits.
Mm-hmm.
I think X8 was that weird case where it just kind of happened.
Yeah, I had some weird delays. But you can listen to that and catch up. I also encourage you to just watch Double, because Double is a really good show. And I'll be honest, all of these reviews are probably going to be just us praising Double and just, like, either just talking about weird, dumb things in the show, or, for me at least, going, oh my god, I forgot about this. Or, oh my god, I forgot how good the music is. I forgot how good it is to have a shit just got real sound, or, like, music track just happen when people are talking. I'm like, God, I miss that. We don't get that. And what's hilarious is that Tsukasa has that. He has his own personal song that plays when he's about to give a speech. We don't get that anymore. I'm upset.
Well, I mean, in Gio's case, how many times has Sogo actually had something meaningful to say?
Not very often, if at all, to be honest.
Uh-huh. Hence, something special like that would be wasted.
Very true. So yeah, that's just a heads up. So don't worry. And also, like, oddly enough, this is like a fine 2 episodes to just kind of watch without too much worry, because like outside of like needing to know who Terry is and like why people call Philip Raito for like the next 2 episodes, honestly, if you watch like anything around when Terry showed up and was Axel, you're pretty much good to go. Because like the Sonozaki situation is exactly where it was with Nazca, except Nazca is replaced by Weather.
And
literally.
And I think the only other major thing that you really kind of lose out on is the premise behind Fang Joker.
Yeah, you lose out on that really good 2-parter. Which is, once more, just... Double has a lot of good episodes. Like, but by like a good stretch. There are hardly, if any, bad episodes in the show. And even the bad ones are still carried by the goddamn cast.
Yeah.
Because, god damn it, I am just amazed at how quick Shotaro can go from suave, serious, to comical goofball in literally milliseconds. And it all feels natural.
And you know, the other thing too, I don't feel like there was ever any filler with Double. It was one of those, there might have been episodes that were a little lighter on moving the main plot, but everything did in a way.
Yeah, to some extent. Because we always stayed in touch with the Sonozakis, and they were always like progressing plans. And it helped that, like, because of the nature of how the Gaia memories are, it didn't matter what the plot was, everything was still an experiment and still a further understanding of the Gaia memories on their part. And also more funding for them.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't even have to be that relevant. It's still something. But the episodes we are covering this week are 27 through 30. The 2-part The D was watching, and the other 2-part go away episode list. I don't need you anymore. Nightmares H. I'm not going to deal with the individual episode titles because that's more than I want to deal with. I have the individual episode titles listed in the notes. But otherwise, it's like, yes, this is this 2-parter, this is the other 2-parter. This first 2-parter is more or less here's the last memory gadget, I think, of the series.
I think you're right.
Like, the Denden sensor is the last memory gadget we get. I don't think we get another one at all. In hell, as I was going through the Wikipedia pages, like, there's even notes in the trivia of, like, this is the last appearance of this form for Double, and I'm like, really? Like, I know it was in one of these 2 episodes. Like, this the second episode of the first two-parter, that's the last appearance of Heat Trigger for the rest of the series.
I could see that.
And then I think in the next two-parter, I want to say we do... Yeah, in the next two-parter, that's the last appearance of Luna Metal. In the series, mind you. I believe all of the half changes do make an appearance in A to Z. So technically, whatever doesn't show up past A to Z chronologically, that's technically their last appearance. But in terms of series, this is the last time we see Heat Trigger and Luna Metal
within the show.
Yep. Which is kind of weird because I'm like, I never noticed that. All right, so any thoughts before we get into the episodes proper? Just thoughts of going into or back in the double, I guess, for the both of us?
No, I don't think I got any, actually.
I'm just happy to be watching a good Rider series since Geo is such a goddamn train wreck of a fucking show. Like, It is so hard sometimes, and I just like, I need a good series. And oh, look, here's a good series with a good cast of characters that I actually want to see on a week-to-week basis, regardless if the plot moves forward. We could have an episode of this cast fucking around and not fight a monster for an entire episode, and it will still be immensely entertaining. Because these characters work so goddamn well, and they work. The actors have great chemistry between everyone. Like, this show works, and just Anyway, we're gonna roll into our first two-parter with episode 27, the Transparent Magical Lady, which kicks off with the detective agency crew, plus Terui at a dinner and magic show. But before that, we got a last time on double segment, which reminded me that the public two-parter was before this. And I am sad we don't get a clip of Terui getting his ass handed to him by a puppet. Yes, your secondary writer of the show got his ass handed to him by a puppet. Because that is double, and it was amazing. Because remember, Terui is the hard and serious detective of this team, and he had to deal with a puppet. Like, pulling shenanigans on him in a junkyard for a fight scene. But the crew's there. Philip is busy building the Den sensor. Terry is here because Akiko invited him. Which, I love how, like, just in the background their entire relationship for the whole show is, because they get married at the end of the, or like after the series ends, and they have a kid by the time Drive airs. Which, I'm just like, wow, they just like quietly put this in the show, just in the background of just like, yeah, these two get to know each other, and by the end of the series, yeah, they are an item. But we introduced to Frank Shirogane and his granddaughter Lily Shirogane. Lily pulls off a disappearing act, which her grandfather is surprised that she actually pulled off, but we'll get to why. We go to the next day at the agency where they're showing off the Den sensor. Lily comes in invisible, and Shotaro runs into her, not knowing she's there. and immediately turns on the suave. But it doesn't work because it's Shotaro. I love how hard he tries. In this episode, this two-parter, and the next two-parter, he tries so hard. He can never
and just get shot down.
Yeah, he can never land a girl in the entire series. He can never land a girl. But we find out that Lily is technically a dopant because she has the invisible memory and it's stuck in her and it's causing her to go invisible at random times. And she needs help fixing it. And then we cut to opening because that's our cold open. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't skip the openings.
Nope.
I cannot skip the double opening. I literally had to sit down and watch 4 episodes today, and I could not skip the opening. I'm like, no, I will look at Twitter, but I will happily listen to this music because, oh my god, is WBX really good as an opening theme. But coming out of opening, we're back at the agency, and Lily drops the weird comment that I was like, wait a minute. The office is a rumor? The Narumi Detective Agency that has to have helped like about a dozen people or so by this point in the series is still a rumor about handling dopant cases? That's a weird detail. Because I would feel like at this point, yeah, if you're dealing with a dopant, you go to them. You get referred to them because like that's like half their caseload, and the other half is just missing pets. Because that's literally the only other kind of case I think they ever take.
Even post-series.
Yeah. As we found out in a terrible movie, but like, that's the only other cases they take. I'm like, how is this office still a rumor? Granted, like, when we get to A to Z, we get several shots of people that they've helped over the course of the series, which is one of those amazing things that A to Z does as a solo film of going, hey, here's all those all those like two-parter like client of the week people. If you remember them, cool, but like they're cheering on the people they helped or the people that helped them. Yeah, they decide to go looking for the guy that gave Lily the memory to start with, which takes them to a cafe where a guy's playing the piano. And as it turns out, oh, Teruo tagged along with him as well. And oh, look, this guy's Weather. He has the W memory that killed his family, like his entire family. So, yeah.
Yeah. Alongside other people, too, but yeah. That's the important one.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think they mentioned like a dozen or so cases a piece per killing method.
Yeah.
But technically, before we get there, because I kind of skipped ahead just a little bit, mainly because Weather showed up with the Sonozakis, because Dad does not like the new man in his girl's life. He supremely does not like him. And I say, good! He's a dick! Because I also have a mention of Shotaro with quick comedy bits, and yeah, Shotaro is amazing at just a quick comedy bit before he's just back to being serious. But in that, then we get to Shotaro, Akiko, Lily, and Terry running in the weather, and Terry's pissed and just goes ham on him, and it doesn't work. And Double tries to help out, and that doesn't work. But we do get the name drop for Twin Maximum, which is a plot point later.
And by later, you mean literally later in this episode.
Not just later in this episode, for the end of the series, too. Because they successively pull off a Twin Maximum in the second to last episode of the series.
But I feel like it was more meant to be like, yeah, this is going to happen in this arc.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't doubt that, but because, spoilers, Double Extreme is literally in our next batch of episodes, I'm wondering if that wasn't also we're totally doing that for the final episode. We're totally going to pull off a working version of this.
It might not necessarily have been 100% that, but it might have helped open the door too, kind of deal.
Yeah. Because like in these 4 episodes, we get a reference to Nazca, and he's been dead for weeks.
Yeah.
And I also find it hilarious that like for one of the little net movie specials for Double, Nazca's actor was on a talk show-esque thing with the Sonosaki sister he married, and he sees the clip of Weather wearing his robe and her pretty much with Weather the entire time, and he's just like, why did you trade me for him? And all of it makes him die again. Once more, this cast is amazing. Because I think all of the net movie stuff was really good. But yeah, nothing works against the Weather because he's a bit overpowered, because I don't think it's ever explained in the show, but the more conceptual the memory is, the more powerful it is. Which kind of explains a lot about how the different memories they've ran into and how their powers have kind of manifest.
Well, I wonder too if it isn't also compounded by the fact that Weather has clearly had his memory for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And within that time, he's also looked to expand it. So maybe he's managed to tap into something that a lot of others can't.
Yeah, and considering what he does over the course of these 2 episodes, I'm also wouldn't be surprised there's a bunch of other stuff that Weather shouldn't be able to do, but he can do because he kind of stole it from another memory.
Yeah. Especially because within this arc, it kind of alludes to the fact that he's at least been at the same place for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I would have to think that's probably the other big reason why he's such a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm. But Lily essentially breaks off the fight and just goes with Weather because she just wants the memory fixed so she can have control of it. She doesn't want it out because she's got plans for it. And also memory addiction, most likely, because for those wondering, the memories are drugs. I don't know if you've caught the subtle point if you have watched Double, but the Gaia memories are in fact drugs.
Yep.
It's extremely subtle. Which it's weird for me to think about because I'm like, how much of a drug problem is there in Japan?
A good question.
Because, like, it's like, okay, looking at this from an American's perspective, this is very obviously all metaphorical for drugs and the drug trade. It all the signs are there. Outside of all of the scientific experimentation part of it, yeah, it has all the hallmarks of a drug trade.
There is this thing called synthetic drugs.
Well, yeah, I mean, so, yeah. But I meant like the end goal of museum. That's not a drug trade thing. The whole with all the knowledge of the world, extreme, all that stuff. That's not a drug trade thing. That's Ryder.
Yeah.
Everything else, on the other hand, that's drug trade. Yeah, I'm curious about that now. Anyway, since Lily ran off, we're back at the agency in the back room. Terui is pissed. He's not happy. He doesn't give a shit about Lily. He's practically back to where we first met him, of him being kind of cold and an asshole. And Shotaro is having none of it. Like, literally, he's having 0% of Terui's attitude right now, especially with Lily. And is pretty much calling him out of, look, we need to do this together. So, get your shit together. And I don't care if you think it's okay for you to die, because I'm not. No one else here isn't okay with that. So, no. Stop it. Don't worry. That'll be important later. Also, we get more of the double soundtrack in the background, because we get I don't know the name of the theme, but I know it's the one that always plays when it's like a super serious or sad moment. Because all of those little instrumental pieces are themed or only used for very specific kind of moments. Because Double knows how to use its music really well. The crew's back out looking for information. Lily is just trying to get her memory working so she can carry on her grandfather's legacy of doing magic work and he can retire. We don't find out about the family's death in this episode, do we? Or is that next episode?
I think it's next episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's next episode.
Okay. Yeah, eventually Santa-chan, one of the informants, which I love how all of the informants are really, they're important side characters to where, yes, you remember them, but they only appear long enough to do what they need to do and then they're gone. Because I think out of all the informants, we only ever run into Santa-chan like over the course of these 4 episodes. And the other time we run into him, it's a cameo, practically. Like, he's the only informant we run into. And even then, it's like 2 minutes. Hey, here's what I've been up to. Hey, here's some information for you. Oh, cool. We have what we need to move on. Bye. Like, I miss when we didn't have side characters taking up screen time that they didn't need. But they get the clue of Weather actually is working at the hospital. That they previously ran into him for a different episode. I don't remember which episode. But they flash back to an episode. So we go there. I forget the other sister's name. Not Wakana. Which is funny because Wakana ends up being the more important sister by the end of the series.
Psycho.
Psycho! Right. Psycho is there because she's the one who, I guess, wants Weather to be her new husband. I guess, or like teach her how to use her Gaia memory better. And she's kind of jealous of the fact that he's very hands-on with treating Lily, which now her memory's working, but as we'll find out by the end that, oh yeah, he made it to where it's going to kill her and then pop out and be useful for him to inject into him and give him invisibility because fuck you, I want invisibility. That's it. I just want a new power to play with and to kill people with.
Well,
That's
I mean,
it.
If he has a new power, then he can just completely sneak up behind people and stab them in the back.
Or freeze them, or electrocute them, or drown them, or like, I don't know, throw them like 20 feet in the air and let them fall back to ground.
Or all of the above.
Pretty much. But Terry actually is there first because he's also a cop and probably already got that part figured out. So he's there. He's not in the mood. He doesn't give a shit about Lily and tells her to piss off. He's got better fish to fry, like the son of a bitch that killed his family. Shotaro shows up. He goes double with Philip. Terry doesn't want him in this fight and literally straight up attacks him. And nothing they do works. Or nothing they do works. Weather pretty much just is too strong for everything they have. So Shotaro goes to the one thing they can do in order to save Terry because he gets like knocked out of his form. And Weather's about to kill him. And I want to know, Shotaro, with zero hesitation, immediately goes for this option because it's like, fuck, we're out of options. Guess what? I'm going to throw this in here. And it's probably going to, like, really hurt. But it's all I got. Which I feel like once more shows, God damn it, is Shotaro such a good character and a good writer, where he's just like zero hesitation on his part. He just goes. Even though Philip's trying to stop him, it's like he knows this will hurt him. It won't hurt Philip, but it will hurt him. And hopefully it will hurt Weather worse than him. Maybe. But we end the episode when he activates the Twin Maximum in Heat Trigger form. Which moves us into 28, where we pick up right there, where the shot hits, and it's not enough because Weather is too strong to be taken out even by a Twin Maximum. Which I guess is the nice little setup of, yeah, you need a stronger form to take out Weather, so good news is in like about 6-ish episodes, the two of them will have their upgrades.
Yeah.
Like, because Double Extreme is literally the first two-parter we're covering next week. I don't remember when the Trial two-parter is. Granted, spoilers, Weather gets taken out in the day, in that two-parter for Trial. But it feels appropriate. But yeah, Weather is not happy about this and is probably ready to kill the both of them. But then Terror shows up, wanting a talk with him. A very personal talk. Because he's not happy. But before we get to that, we are back at the agency in the back room, where Philip is pissed at Terry for being an idiot, not listening, not wanting to cooperate, and he kind of blames him for Shotaro's situation. And even though Terry punches him, Philip is just like, I don't like you. I don't want to deal with you right now. Because Shotaro is out, and he's out for like most of the episode. Like, I don't think he has a speaking line until literally the end of the episode.
I think you're right.
But while we're at Sonizaki's, Terror's talking to Weather. Pretty much is just outright hostile to him and is practically threatening him of just like, look, you fuck with my daughters, and anyway, you will die a very slow and very painful death. And it will be very slow and very painful. And I want to say it's this episode, because it's not the next two-parter, where Weather reveals that like he's injected himself with several memories at this point, because he has he's got like 6 or 7 ports on his chest.
I can't remember right offhand. I just watched this. That's what's bad.
Yeah, that's the only problem with watching like 4 episodes of a series, because some things will kind of blend together. Because like all of the Sonizaki segments kind of blend together for me, because it's all of them take place at the dining room. All of them are pretty much sit down conversations, and like the only difference between them is in this one, Wakana is sane, and then the other two-parter, she's high as fuck.
Quite literally.
Yep. Yeah, while all that's going on, Philip is working to figure out a way how to save Lily, and the only option is to get Terry on board, because otherwise she's dead. Literally, it goes from a book death to a book alive. Which I have to wonder, with the books being named like that, how much information is in the book? Because they're all like the same thickness of book. Like, does he just have to check?
That's a good question.
Does he have is it just like on the first like 4 pages and then everything else is blank? It's just like, it's this thick because it could have that much information, but depending on what he needs to look up, it's only like 6 pages long actually. Granted, some of the lookup books are different like size books. It was just hilarious that like the death and the alive one were both the same size. Eventually, Akiko is the one deciding to get Terry's head on straight, and literally threatens one of his coworkers with nothing but a slipper and a look to get Terry's location. I have to think that's her father in her.
Yeah. Has to be.
Because like I know some people don't like Akiko as a character, but I think she's fine like most of the time. Like I constantly have to I have to remember just like she's kind of a kid and she's kind of been thrown into all this. And also the series, I don't think ever really acknowledges the fact that she found out that Narumi was Skull. Like when she was supposed to know.
I think you're right.
Because it's never really acknowledged in series.
Yeah.
Like Narumi was just Narumi. Like I think Philip is the only one that ever refers to him as Skull. And that's only in like visual sense in terms of a flashback, which is one of those weird things of like, yeah, Movie War 2010 is in canon because it gets referenced before in series. And Narumi's hat is a constant background feature in the office on the hat rack. Like, it's there. It's always there. Let's see. But yeah, Akedo finally finds Terry. He's hanging out at the Shiragane's, I guess, waiting for Weather to show up to take the memory. But also maybe to keep an eye on Lily, because maybe he's not being as much of a dickhead at the moment. Frank invites them in and just like gives the family spiel, like fills them in on just the backstory, a bit of the backstory, and like also that, yeah, he knew Lily was doing something not so legal, but he let it slide because she's trying, and that's all he wants. And all he can do is just hope that she's safe. But Lily does show up and immediately runs, and Terry manages to track her down and say exactly what Shotaro said to him to her when she gives him the same line, which is a very nice, like, yeah, Terry, look, see, this is how you've been acting. You need to shape up.
Yeah.
This is also when we get the Nazca reference because Weather's wearing his old robe. Poor guy. If this was a later Heisei, or like second half of the Heisei era series, he would still be alive and he would probably be a writer. I say probably. I'm not sure. I feel like with how we've gotten more writers in like the second half of the Heisei era than the first half.
Yeah,
well, the second half of this second half, I feel like, yeah, we would have a Nazca writer. So Lily's still going to go ahead with the magic show, even though the memory is killing her. But that's part of the plan, because they do have a way of saving her. And Philip shows up and immediately punches Teruo, because that's how him and Shotaro like make up after an argument, is punch it out, then we're good. Which I feel like is an extremely just Shotaro way of dealing with it, of just like, all right, you either punch me or I punch you, whoever is like the angrier one, or like whoever was like wronged, and then we just talk it out and we're good. But Weather shows up because he wants the memory. Terry gives a nice little speech. And they do end up saving Lily just by killing her, so the memory will eject, but then restarting her heart, because Terry has an electric move in his engine memory. So she's saved, visible memory's destroyed, and now we just got to deal with Weather, which, since Shotaro's out of action, Philip has to step in with Fang Joker. And Shotaro's apparently, like, good enough to not hinder Fang Joker at all, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. That is kind of funny.
Especially when he just slightly rolls out of bed long enough to like pop the memory in. But they both prop a little Rider Twin Maximum to shoot tornadoes back at him and just shoo Weather away for the two-parter, because they're done. But Lily's off the hook. She's not going to be arrested. Shotaro gets to sleep. And when we're back in the office, Lily hits on Terry because, of course, Terry is the one that somehow manages to get ladies. Not Shotaro at all. Poor guy. And we close out on that. Also, since I have it wrote here and I forgot to mention it, this two-parter was written by Riku Sanjo, who is the main writer for Double, and directed by Koichi Sakamoto, who should be the main director for Double, if I remember right. But the next two-parter is written by Keiichi Hasegawa and directed by Ryuta. Just for reference, since I did that for the movies, I went and grabbed this as well. So, what'd you think of the first half?
Well, the first half of what we're covering, you mean?
Yes.
Honestly, I think this did good in terms of character development for sure.
Yeah.
And in the ways that we really needed it too.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of gets back to that whole, no matter how the episode turns out, there's always a good chunk of progression for the main story. Because, they knew how to write a story.
Yeah.
Same can't be said for Geo.
Yeah, not only are we continuing to progress, the partnership of Shotaro and Philip, which is extremely important, literally 3 episodes later, as that partnership is challenged in a very hard way in order for them to get extreme. But, Terry is challenged with the fact of, here's the guy that murdered your parents. How are you going to react to that? Starts off badly. Almost gets himself and other people killed. Because he, doesn't use his head. But after he's leveled off and even has the line of being a Kamen Rider in training of just, I couldn't help but smile at that because I'm like, right, Double puts a lot of emphasis on that title. Because in series, the title Kamen Rider was given to Shotaro and Philip by the city. And it was episode 3 or 4, I think. I don't remember the specific episode, but they're given to it on the radio. And they treasure that because that's the title of the hero of the city that they were given, and they really treasure that. And the fact that Terry is yeah, I haven't quite earned that title yet, is I miss that. I really miss that. I miss when we put importance on the title. Because we've slid back into early Heisei era where anyone who had a belt and a thing to transform is a rider.
Yeah.
And we don't put an emphasis on the fact of, yeah, only the heroes should be wielding that title. Anyone who's not a hero, you don't deserve that title. Granted, Drive has the wonderful clip of him kicking Yongo in the Yongo Net movies and literally telling him, you don't deserve the title of Kamen Rider, as he is kicking him into oblivion. As much as the Superhero Tyson films have been shit, the Yongo Net movies is the best thing to come out of them. Yeah, this episode was really nice. It's also nice to see, oddly enough, a Sentai alumni in the form of Nao Nagasawa, who played Lily. She's from She originally, I believe, was from Hurricane and Hurricane Blue, but she since went on to show up a couple different times over the course of series. So she's just one of those faces that you see in Tokusatsu. Anything else before we move on to the second half?
Nah.
All right. We're going to pick things up with episode 29 then. Because we're at the agency where Akiko is sleepy because she went on a binge watch of some period piece DVD stuff. So she's sleepy, but our client comes in who's name. Himika?
Yep.
Comes in saying that she can't sleep. Which Akiko is immediately going, you should call a doctor for that, not a detective agency, because that's a medical issue, not an investigation issue. But she goes, well, there's this monster chasing me, and then she pulls out the picture, and it's like 6 people I work with have fallen comatose and have H's plastered on their heads by whatever that's supposed to be. I have no idea what it's supposed to be. I guess it's supposed to be a bruise. But it's just like a series of circles, and it's a very weird bruise, but that's not super important. But they eventually get told, oh, this is a dopant case. Okay, I guess we'll take a look into this. So they're off on the case. I didn't make a note of when the cold open ended, so at some point the cold open ended. And we're at the college. I should probably make a note of when the cold open ends from now on.
Possibly.
But yeah, we're at, I believe it's Futo University. At the little place where they're studying dreams. Where crazy Dr. Bear guy is studying lucid dreaming. And they can use what has to be these really uncomfortable headphones in order to help you into a lucid dream state. I'm not the only one thinking that those headphones looked uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm sure they were. Very uncomfortable.
Because there's a metal plate where the padding should be, and I was like, that's the wrong thing to have there. That's bad. That would suck, especially when you have to sleep with them. Also, hopefully you're not a restless sleeper, because they're not really strapped on there. They're just put on. But yeah, Himika also, as a thing, since Terry showed up, calls everyone her fated prince. She called Sotaro that, now she calls Terry that, and Akiko just fucking has none of it. She's just like, oh, you're one of the people. Cool. Because, don't worry, that's a plot point. So they eventually, Terry and Shotaro decide that they're gonna put on the headphones and hop into the dreams and see if they can catch this dopant now and end this 2-parter early. It's not gonna happen, but they're gonna try. But Terry ends up getting to sleep. Shotaro does not, because he is pulled into the binge of this whatever period piece drama series this is that I don't think is actually real. And I also think that the set that they filmed all of it on doesn't exist anymore because it burned down. I want to say it's that set. I remember a few years ago, there was a period piece set for Toei that burned down. I don't know if it was this one. I want to say it is, because I believe this is the exact same one that is used a year or so later for O's Wonderful. and also for Ghost Age or Gokaiger for like one part of the movie. And like anytime they've ever had to go into like this time period for Japan. So yeah, while Terry's sleeping, he runs into his sister, who, by the way, is dead. So that's already thrown him for a loop. And then one of his coworkers is apparently marrying her. And he's like, fuck, I want out. Oh god, I want out of this. This is terrible. At least it's not Makoto with his sister and Ghost. That was just a weird moment. On top of many weird moments with Ghost. It probably doesn't help that Makoto didn't have a lot to do in Ghost after we got out of the initial arc of Ghost. Because I kind of realized that Makoto kind of just goes nowhere for a while until we clone him. No response.
Nope.
Yeah, the Nightmare Dopant shows up, fights Terry, and I think we end up actually in the pool hall that's next door to the agency. Technically,
I think
like we're not actually. Yeah, like we're not actually there because we're still in the dream. But yeah, there's a pool hall next door to the detective agency, like legitimately. And I think that's what I think that's that actual location. Because I want to say we've been in there before for a scene in an episode at some point.
Probably.
But yeah, Terry tries to beat him, but Nightmare will sell for no one. So Terry's out for the rest of the two-parter. So after Shotaro realizes, oh shit, it's morning. Oh shit, Terry's out. Well, I guess it's just us. Philip is on the lookout for information. Shotaro's out looking for clues. And we cut to the Sonozakis where Wakana is high as fuck because her memory got fucked with by Weather like 4 episodes ago. But he's just like, oh, it's fine. It's just a weird hiccup about being a super compatible person with a Gaia memory. But Papa Sotozaki has none of it and is once more like, you're on thin ice, shithead. Extremely thin ice. If something happens to her, you're dead. Just straight up, you're dead.
You're dead to me and everyone that knows you.
And you know what's hilarious in hindsight?
What?
He's not final villain.
Yeah.
Like, none of the Sonozakis are final villains. But they're still important. And also, if they weren't wheeling and dealing with Gaia memory wheeling and dealing in Gaia memories, they would probably be decent people.
Yeah.
So yeah, while Shotaro's looking for clues, he runs into Himika, and he once more is suave and cool and gets a hug for it, and he's just like, holy shit, this works. Because once more, Shotaro is not used to his smooth act working on people.
Because usually it doesn't.
No, it never works. But it's just like, holy shit, this is working. Yay! It won't last long, but it worked. But Philip comes up with the idea of, all right, let's go to sleep in the middle of this field as Double so that I will be an oddity in your dream and we can catch the Dopant by surprise and figure out who the fuck he is. So while Double's in the dream, of course, it's the period piece Shotaro binge watched like yesterday, so it's on his mind hard. And everyone is in the appropriate places. And poor Santa-chan has been murdered by being drowned, I guess? Was he drowned?
Question mark?
I don't know. It's not the important part because, hey, here's Nightmare, and hey, we have an extended fight sequence through this period piece set. I also love that the bike de-transforms just like the suit does. As it gets turned into a bicycle. And also, we get the wooden Gaia memories that, by the way, they made actual choice for. Yes, those wooden Gaia memories, they made actual DX toy versions of for you to put into a double driver. When I say they made every single Gaia memory that appeared in the series, they did in fact make every single Gaia memory that appeared in the series, even if it was only like, you know, in the briefcase where there's a bunch of Gaia memories, or like in the still images of like Gaia memories that like we know exist but were never used in series.
Yeah,
those got made too. They got thrown into one of like, I think there were 3 collections of like 40 some odd Gaia memories for all of Double. Like, Double had merchandise made well into Wizard's Run. Like, picture that one for a second. Wizard was 3 shows later. They were still selling Gaia memories. There is a Wizard Gaia memory. There is a Pucho Terra and a Cosmic States Gaia memory too, for Final Form Gaia memories. That is how deep they went for Gaia memories, because it was, before O's outsold or did better, it was the highest selling Rider series of all time for toys. Until O's did better, and I think Gaim topped it since then?
probably.
Yeah, we have the fight scene. Eventually, Philip and Shotaro corner the Dopant, and it's weird to see Philip standing next to Double. Because that never happens. Then they try to find out who he is, and they're like, "You're the professor, right?" Nope, he's out. But Wither finds out they're there because he was going to drop by and talk to Nightmare, and oh, look, the people who fucked me over 2 episodes or last week. Guess who I get to murder today? And oh no, Fang has to go protect Philip while Shotaro is trapped in the memory and trapped in the dream, and we are out on Philip taking the lightning bolt to the back. We pick up there with episode 30. As Shotaro gets saved in the memory by a janitor talking to Nightmare as he's busy doing stuff. So, bye. But unfortunately, Weather's still around, but the extreme memory, or the extreme bird, technically, we technically don't know it's a memory yet, but spoilers, it's a memory. It's actually technically 2 memories. Because if I remember how the DX toy works, there are 2 extreme memories attached, like underneath the bird, that are slotted into the driver, and that's what slots in and makes sure everything activates. And you can technically pop both of those off and just slot them in the driver, and I think it still works outside of the spinning part of the belt. Yeah, the extreme bird comes in, absorbs Philip, and then fucks off after it kind of like shoves Weather away. Akio's upset. Shotaro is upset as well, but uses his connection to Philip when he has the driver on, which I forget they have because it doesn't come up that often.
But you know what's funny? It really kind of came up in both of the two-parters we covered this week.
Yeah.
Because, like, Philip was using it to hear the bullcrap that Terry was giving over not wanting to save Lily, and then we get the inverse of it here.
Mm-hmm. Like, I forget that they can just do that. And I'm just like, wow, the show just like expects you to remember, because it's first introduced really, I think, in like episode 3 or 4, like when they're dealing with greed. I think is it greed or money?
Greed, I think.
Yeah, it's greed because they're at the casino and they're playing a game of Old Maid, or Shotaro's playing a game of Old Maid with the Dopant, with their memories and all the people on the line, and he's able to reach Shotaro, but because of the belt, Philip can control Shotaro's body and picks the correct card. Because that's also a thing they can do besides just having a connection that they can just talk to each other through. Because that also comes up in the episode, and it's just like, yeah, we introduced that, and that's just on the table. We don't make a big deal about it. It's just there. We don't like make you or like bring up like hard or anyone mentions it. It's just, yeah, that's there. That's another thing I'm like, wow, I missed that in these shows, of when we just have a thing that's there and we just let the audience just go, hey, you remember that? Cool. You remember that. If not, don't worry about it. So then Shotaro goes to the last remaining person of the research group, and then he gets whammied, so we're out of suspects for now. But Akio decides that, well, if the Dopant won't go to Shotaro's dream, she'll go under. Which Shotaro goes, well, how are you going to tell me anything? And she's just like, oh, I talk in my sleep. I just love how upfront of that she is. She's just like, yeah, I talk in my sleep. For the Sonizakis real quick, where the father mentions Extreme and also slightly mentions Shroud, not by name, but by reference. Because Shroud has been someone in the background for like a while now, since I think Teruri came in. She's like been here. I don't think she was around before then. Was she?
I think you're right.
Because she came in with Teruri because she's the one that provided Teruri with all his stuff. And she's kind of slowly been working in the background now, and now she's here, like talking to Philip through the Extreme memory, or the Extreme Bird, technically, at the moment, going, don't hang out with Shotaro. He's a bad influence. You need a better friend. And I'm like, can you not talk about Philip's partners? Because I think he's in a healthy relationship with Philip, or with Shotaro. Just saying. But yeah, we get Akio in her memory with her, crap, I forgot the name of it. It's a food in Japan. I got to try it out for my Japanese class. I don't remember the name of it. Takoyaki! That's what it is. She's got a takoyaki hat that will get referenced in Movie War Core, like 6 months from when this episode aired. Because kid version of her is wearing it in the flashback in that or in the flashback in that movie. And also, we have Shotaro in a white suit as a gag when she thinks it's her dad. Which I'm like, wow, I forgot they actually already did Shotaro in a white suit. Not a full white suit, mind you, but a white suit nonetheless. Good. Kamen Tyson didn't blow that one. But yeah, she spots Nightmare. Her and Shotaro swap memories because she takes Joker while she just passes Shotaro Cyclone to transform into Double and proceeds to just beat the shit out of Nightmare for like 5 minutes with everything. And it works until she just gets punched in the nose once. And then it stops working because she doesn't have control of the dream. But that's not the point because she pretty much taunts him into saying who he is. Which gives Shotaro the final thing he needs to go confront the Dopant. Shroud tells Philip he has a bad partnership with Shotaro. He shouldn't do it, but Philip is like, no, I have a good partnership. Stop telling me what to do, Mom. Literally. Spoilers, Shroud is Philip's mom. I don't remember when that gets revealed technically. But I'm just going to put this on the table.
I don't even think it's when we get Extreme, is it?
Don't think so.
It's after that.
Yeah, it's kind of a late game reveal, but like all the signs are there that it's before A to Z. Because if I remember right, Philip is trying to follows the agent lady because he thinks she's Shroud. And he knows by then that Shroud's his mom. So it's between now and A to Z is when we find out that Shroud is his mom. And is the missing Sonozaki family member in this situation, which I also reminded myself, oh yeah, the only person who survives the end of this series from the Sonozakis is the cat. Right. Because the cat's here, and I'm like, oh right, you survive, and you just become a pet at the office by the end of the series. I guess you're a nice cat. Yeah, Shotaro goes to I keep having to look for her name. Himika to lay out who's hassling her, and then she falls asleep. And then she's stuck in the dream where Nightmare is until not Dream Shotaro shows up to save the day because he confronts Nightmare being like, hey, I know who you are this time, for real. And the guy is all up in thinking that she likes him, even though she says the same shit to everybody. Because she doesn't know any better, I guess. That she is sending the wrong signals to everyone at the same time. Also, I love how Shotaro doesn't quite know where Philip is and doesn't know if he can transform, but he still goes and confronts the Dopant anyway with nothing but the gadget memories to back him up.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay.
I think it boils down to he's at the point he doesn't care if he has the power or not. He's still a rider, and he's going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, that extremely gets echoed at the end of the series when he fulfills a request for Philip without ever having to turn into Double. it's another thing that's like, it annoys me about Geo, but I'm like, oh my god, there are so many better main writers than you. You are literally bad at this. Like, him trying to, like, sell himself on the fact of, like, yes, I trust you to, like, take me out if I go down this wrong path. I don't think he's earned those moments. He really hasn't. But, like, when Shotaro goes charging after the Dopont with, like, no idea if Philip is there to back him up in order to turn into double, I totally believe the fact that he's going in there with no fear and all the trust in the world of being like, all right, if I get in trouble, Philip will be here. It may not be immediate, but Philip will back me up. Because he knows when that driver shows up on him that I need him. So, Shotaro and Nightmare get into a tussle. Also, I think this is where the first episode of X8 got filmed. Or at least part of it is the same location. Like all the staircase and stuff. I might be wrong.
I don't know. I don't remember right offhand.
It looked familiar, so I thought maybe I might be thinking it was something else, or it might just look similar enough to make me think otherwise. But Philip eventually shows up. They go double, and they go to town on Nightmare and take him down. And we end off with Himika, like, seeing off the guy, saying she's sorry for sending the wrong signals and hope he comes back. So they can be friends. And then she immediately is sending the wrong signals to all the people that woke up. And then Shotaro and Akiko, who are looking at this, just say the catchphrase because she's going to cause more trouble. Oh well, not all their clients turn out on the good end by the end, but oh well. And that closes us out. What'd you think? Tommy? Hello? What'd you think?
It's one of those where it goes to show. I think this whole thing goes to show just how strong the partnership is between Shotaro and Philip. And it's one of those that's like, I like when it does that because it seems to be the stronger points in the show.
Yeah.
Especially Light Show, where that's the recurring theme of driving the wedge between them.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, no. Everyone here refuses.
Yeah, this ends up being a very tight-knit little family by the end of the series, and nothing's going to drive us apart. Like, even when it's the hints of, like, we'll get to it more next week, but, like, when it's possible that, like Terry needs to take over for Shotaro as double, Terry doesn't, like, jump on it at all. He's just like, no. Like, you're Philip's partner, not me. Like, I'm not taking that from you. I can't take that from you. I refuse to take that from you. Which is just another instance of, God, this cast is really good, and like, it's just nice to have a good writer series to, like, go, all right, I watched the awfulness of Double, or not to, wow. No. I watched the awfulness of Geo, and I can just wash it all away with good writer in terms of double. That was the extreme wrong thing. Thank you, Dyslexia, for kicking in hard right there. I tell you what. Fuck. Yeah, it's just nice to have a good writer series. I hope we have a good Sentai series in like 2 weeks from when we're doing this, because Ryu Soldier debuts. It should be in 2 weeks. I really hope Ryu Soldier is good, because I really like what they're doing for the mechs and the mini plot stuff, and I'm also really in the mood to build something. So I would really like to do that, because that would probably be really nice to just have on my desk and then muck around with and make different formations with just those 3, if not more. Since of all of the Lego port stuff that is on them, you could just slap bits onto other bits and just see what happens. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I also want to mention real quick, Brand New World for Cross is out at the moment from Get 'em Corp. And Volt is still alive. Again. He refuses to fucking die. God damn it. Why can't he stay dead? Why?
Why does Geo still exist?
Fair point. Yeah, I mentioned that because it was pretty good for what it was. I'd say go check it out outside of a Volt still being alive, and he's still alive by the end of it, and apparently back at full power, and he just fucks off because he's like, well, I'm done dying on this planet. I'm going to go somewhere else now. Bye. I'm tired of being blown up. But next week, we're taking a look at 31 through 35. I about said 30. 31 through 35.
34.
30. Yeah, 34. Damn it. I can't count. I can't count, along with I can't do a lot of things. Apparently. Yeah. Next week, we're taking a look at 30 through 34, which will take us through the debut of Double Extreme. God damn it! Fuck. 31 through 34. Which will take us through the debut of Double Extreme, and I don't remember the 2-parter offhand after that. I think this is the one that Shotaro runs into that girl that kind of dresses like him. Like, Shotaro gets a potential love interest that doesn't go anywhere, unfortunately, because it doesn't end well for him. Also, strangely enough, in between our two halves, the double novel happens. But anyway, that will do it for us this week. You can tune into any of our stuff for the rest of the week, or anything on the archives, including the last 3 reviews, or the first 3 reviews we did for the rebooted TGSR, because they should all be up on the website by tomorrow morning. Hopefully.
Maybe.
Unfortunately, Tumblr decided to not auto-post what was queued up today, so I had to go in and manually post them. I don't know why. They were listed properly. It just didn't take. But anyway, we'll see you next week.